Shalom, shalom. What's up, what's up? Right. I know y'all see that title, right? Yeah, we back at it again. The Exodus, right? A Passover story, part 4. So yeah, we working our way through the whole Exodus story, the whole Passover thing, right? As we celebrating this whole feast of unleavened bread this week, right? Um, so yeah, you've been following along. We got into a little history of the people and all that. Like far as like what archaeology says and historian says, as far as these people being called by a what we would call a derogatory term, Sashu, which means robber, plunderer, wanderer. Basically bywords, basically thieves, right? And if you think about it, like, look at some of the bywords that they place on us today. They label us as, like you just, a bunch of thieves and criminals and all that stuff, right? So you can see that, these proverbs and bywords, been with us for a long time. And so yeah, but of course, before we get into it, all praises to the Most High Yahweh, and we do so in His only begotten Son Yahweh Shai, who the world mistakenly called Jesus Christ, right? So let's go to Deuteronomy 28, and I think 37. So Deuteronomy 28 and 37 says, "And thou shalt be a astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, rather the Lord shall lead thee." So now getting to Deuteronomy 28, these are a list of punishments that God said He's going to hit the Israelites with if they disobey His laws. And one of those punishments is being called bywords, having these, little names that we have, these derogatory names that, we, unfortunately carry, right? And so it says it. So it says, "And thou shalt become astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, rather the Lord shall lead thee." Right? And let's get let's see. Let's see this real quick. So now this is Job 30 and 9, and it says, "And now I am their song, yeah, their byword," meaning these people make fun of us, when it says "I am their song," meaning they got something to say about us, and it says "and I am their byword," meaning they call us names, they say smart things, they say little slick things about us, right? So let's get one more real quick. Let's get Acts 13 and 1. Acts 13 and 1 says, and this is the New Testament, dealing with the disciples. So Acts 13:1 says, "And now there were in the church that were at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger, and Lucius of Syrian, and Menian, which had been brought up with Herod uh, Tarash and Saul. So you see, the disciples were in the city of Antioch, and they were called nigger, right? And this is Acts 13 and 1. And the Latin word, is, nigger, goes back to the word niger, and which means black, right? So, so they was just, they wasn't calling them Israelites. They were being called bywords even back then, right? Um, so yeah, let's get into it. Let's go back to let's go to Exodus, uh, chapter 9 real quick. You know that. So I don't know if I showed y'all these, but these are a little more images depicting our servitude in Egypt. That's how they depict the South Sioux people. You see how they got them tied up and bound, right? Um, uh, let's read this real quick though. So this is from the history of the South Sioux. So it says this is a letter belonging to the reign of Ramses the I believe that's the seventh, I believe, or the no yeah, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, Ramses the fourth. No, yeah, forgot whatever Roman numeral that is. I believe it's oh. Uh, the high priest of the temple of Amun sent a letter to some Nubian soldiers praising them for the efficiency of protecting the group of workers sent out on behalf of the temple administration. The document mentioned the Sashu 3 times as enemies of the expedition. The letter emphasized the idea that the Sashu were thieves taking the opportunity to attack the Egyptian properties, right? So now, remember, so now these plagues is going on that we're reading about, because remember as we were explaining, um, when you get into what the Egyptians' account was of that time, um, it wasn't like a week long process or a month long process. These events happened over the course of a few years, right? So then when you get into the history, like what the Egyptians wrote about it, because remember when we read in the Bible, although the Bible is true and all that cool stuff, and it's about our people, but a lot of times we're reading a condensed version of history. So seeing that the Egyptians, wrote about it also, and they wrote about like how, the South Shore people were rioting and they were looting and causing all types of uproar, right? Hold on, Salaki, real quick. Yeah, Salaki. So, so yeah, there's writing about the history of how they were rioting and all that stuff and looting and a whole bunch of stuff going on throughout the course of the year, throughout those years, as the downfall and the decline of the Egyptian society, right? So it says the Sassus were thieves taking opportunities to attack the Egyptian properties from time to time, while giving while Gibeon admired the idea. Okay, well, then it says the Sassu term became the explanation of the uh, Banyas of the generals at the end of the XX at the end of the 20th dynasty. Okay, I got it. Yeah, the 20th dynasty. Not that. Okay. Yeah. Um, so yeah, basically, they was, they had, the South Street was like a derogatory term that they had for, the people that was the Israelites that was living there, right? So, and and it was a term to basically call them thieves and robbers and criminals and stuff, right? And just like how America called us thugs and gangbangers, right? So so moving on, right? So chapter 9. And then the Lord said unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh and tell him, thus said Yahweh, power of the power of the Hebrews, let my people go, that they may serve me. For if thou refuse to let them go, and will hold them still, behold, the hand of Yahweh is upon the cattle, is upon thy cattle which is in the field, upon the horses, upon the asses, upon the camels, upon the ox, and upon the sheep. There shall be very grievous murmurings, and the Lord shall serve uh, sever between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt, and there shall nothing die of that is the children of Israel. So God said, I'm going to separate the cattle of Egypt and the cattle of Israel. I'm going to kill all the cattle of the Egyptians and not kill the cattle of the Israelites. And the Lord appointed at this time, saying, tomorrow the Lord shall do this thing in the land. And the Lord did that thing on the morrow, and all the cattle of Egypt died. But the cattle of the children of Israel died not one. And Pharaoh sent, and behold, there was not one of the cattle of the Israelites dead. And the heart of the Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let the people go. So Pharaoh seeing all of this, he's seeing like all their livestock, you know, die off. And Israelites still got their, livestock. But Pharaoh still is like, nah, I'm not letting the people go. All right. Um, and the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, take to you handfuls of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it towards the heaven in the sight of Pharaoh, and it shall become small all in the land of the all in the land of Egypt, and shall be boiled, breaking forth with with uh, with bangs upon man and beasts throughout all the land of Egypt. Right. So now, so you're killing the cattle, um, bringing sickness on the people. Right. So now, again, we're dealing with practicality. Because remember, we was seeing how all the plagues line up, you know, and meaning like how they connect to each other. So we left off with the flies, everywhere eating all the dead, frogs and other dead creatures that's laying about in Egypt, right? So you have all these dead carcasses laying around the land, right? The water is undrinkable. Um, so so now that in the so you can't uh water the grass and the crops and all that, and the cattle eat the grass and all that. So now the cattle is dying off. So you have so that brings forth diseases. So now we see the diseases coming right after all of this, right? So understanding, like I said, the Most High deals with practicality. So we got to, like I was saying last time, we have to learn how to take the spookism out of this book, and the whole um, thinking there's some type of you know magic stuff. I mean, like that's for lack of better terms. But the way our people look at this book, like basically it's not able to be understood, right? And there's so much stuff going on, but when it's really practical. When you look at the stuff and actually read it, this makes sense. If you have a whole bunch of dead things just lying around, insects everywhere, undrinkable water, that brings diseases, right? Look at some places in Africa that suffer from malaria, right? So that happens, right? And it says, and they took the ashes of the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses sprinkled it up towards heaven, and it became boil, breaking forth with bangs upon men and upon beasts. And the magicians could not stand before Moses, because the boils was upon the magicians and upon all the Egyptians. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and hardened not and hardened not and hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had spoken unto Moses. So the Pharaoh see that his nation is breaking out with all these diseases, and he still ain't trying to do nothing to help the people, right? Reminiscent of what was that, 2021, when number 47 was in office for the 45th time, right? Um, and everybody was complaining about how he's handling the whole COVID situation, right? A lot of people end up losing their lives during that, situation, right? So same thing here. Pharaoh, like, seeing the whole nation getting disease and plague, he like, nah, it got to be something else. It got to be another reason why this is going on, right? So and the Lord said unto Moses, raise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh, and say unto him, thus said the Lord God of heaven, I mean, Lord God of the Hebrews, let my people go, that they may serve me. For I will at this time send all my plagues upon thy heart, and upon thy service, and upon thy people, that thou mayest know that there is none like me in all the earth, right? So God is like, look, let my people go, or else I'm about to start hitting y'all with everything, right? For now I will stretch out my hand, that I may smite thee and thy people with pestilence, and thou shalt be cut off from the earth. And in very deed, for this cause I have raised up thee, for to show in thee my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. Right? So God was like, look, y'all, I'm about to hit y'all with some stuff. Let my people go. Like, and if you don't let my people go, I'm just gonna hit y'all with everything. I'm gonna have to start hitting y'all with all types of pestilence, all types of diseases, right? And he said, read this part again. Because a lot of people don't understand, like, the diabolicalness of the Most High, the the war strategists of the Most High, like how he plot things out, how he's just a mastermind, he's a genius, he's unfathomable, you can't figure him out, right? So he made Egypt a great, powerful nation. Egypt was the top nation at this time, because I think, like Babylon, they was doing all right. They was doing their little thing, but they wasn't like popping like that. It wasn't until Nebuchadnezzar and them start coming on the scene. But like Egypt was up, Egypt was doing their thing, right? Um, so God said He made them great. What He said, just read it. It says, for let me read it. All right, verse 16. And in this deed, for this cause, I have risen thee up. Meaning, God said, I made you great. I gave you all the recognition and power in the world. You know, everybody talk about Egypt and their gold and how cold they was, right? And it says, for to show in thee my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. Then he destroyed them. Let's get Romans 9 and 17. Romans 9 and 17. For the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose I have risen thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. For therefore he have mercy on whom he will have mercy, and he will harden who he will harden. Right? So, meaning God does what he wants to show his power in men, right? Because it tells you in the book of Daniel that God rules in the power in the kingdom of men. God raises up kings and he takes down kingdoms. That's what he does, right? This is like chess to him. That's what he do, right? So he made Pharaoh great, just so he can destroy Pharaoh, so we can be talking about it today, right? That's why, right? So, verse 17. And as yet exaltest thou self against my people, that thou will not let them go. So God's like, dude, I'm the one that made you hot. And now you want to try to act like you some type of big shot on my people? Like, dude, you're not going to let my people go? Right? So then, behold, tomorrow about this time, I will cause it to rain in grievous hail, in various grievous hail, such as not been in Egypt since the foundation thereof, even until now. So God said it's going to be like thunderstorms, hailstorms that you never ever seen before. Send therefore now and gather thy cattle and all that thou hast in the field, for upon every man and beast which shall be found in the field and have not be brought home, the hail shall come down upon them, and they shall die. That fear that fear the word of Yahweh among the servants of Pharaoh made his servants and cattle flee into his houses. Talking about the Israelites, right? Because we are the servants of the Pharaoh. We were the slaves, and we feared Yahweh. So when Moses said, all right, look, it's about to be some crazy hailstorm and thunderstorms coming. Put all your cattle up, because if you outside when it's still coming down, you're going to die, right? And we all seen videos on the news or wherever you may see them at of hail, like like baseball size of hail, right? You know, people coming outside from work or shopping, and all their windows busted out because big old balls of hail, hitting the car. So imagine you being outside, right? You outside, and a baseball, softball size of ice falling from the sky, from the firmament, thousands and millions of miles up in the air, falling down, hitting you in your head. You gonna die. You're probably gonna die. Not probably, you are gonna die, right? Just think about this. Somebody goes to the top of a skyscraper and hold a quarter or a penny and drop the penny off the top of the skyscraper or the quarter, and it hits somebody in the head. Guess what? They're gonna die. So imagine a baseball or softball size. We don't even know how big the hell was, but we know that it wasn't no damn small pieces of hell, because this is biblical proportions, right? So you gonna die. Um, and he, okay, 21. And he that gathered not the word he that regard not the word of the Lord left his servants and his cattle in the field. So you had some hard headed Israelites that didn't follow through, and this like yeah you know still work that it's all good, so this little rain ain't gonna hurt, right? You got people like that still cracking the whip, right? And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch forth thy hand towards heaven, that there may be hail in all the land of Egypt upon man and beast, and upon every herb of the field throughout the land of Egypt. Now think about now. This is a horrible time, right, for the Egyptians, right? So not only you got our people, in an uprise, civil unrest, doing what we doing. You have natural, what they would call natural disasters happening. So the livestock is destroyed, the crops are destroyed, right? So then the little whatever they got left, whatever crops and livestock they got left, here comes this hellacious hailstorm and thunderstorm to wipe that stuff out, right? So this is a very tough time for the Egyptians, and we can read about this, you know, uh, when they're doing this, what they call might be the Bronze Age, at the end of the Bronze Age and all that. How how rough it was for them, especially after we left, right? Um, because it didn't get better; it just kept declining, as we left. Um, and boom, boom, boom. And Moses stretched forth his rod towards heaven, and the Lord sent thunder and hail, and the fire ran along upon the ground, and the Lord rained hail upon the Egyptians, upon the land of Egypt. And there was hail and fire mingled with hail very grievous, such as there was none like it in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation, right? So they 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 were seeing, it was crazy, right? Got hail falling. Then not only is it falling, it's not melting because it's turning into fire. It's crazy, right? Um, only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, was there no hail. And remember, we read as we was continuing on this thing, the Sasha people settled in the land of Goshen. Then when we uh, read about Joseph and his brothers and his family coming in, they all settled in the land of Goshen. So this is where we were at. So we wasn't getting affected by none of the stuff. And Pharaoh sent and called for Moses and Aaron and said unto them, I have sinned this time. So now Pharaoh he talking good. Like, man, I sinned this time. I messed up. My fault, my bad. You right. I'm wrong, right? And Moses and Aaron said unto Pharaoh, Moses and Aaron said unto them, and Pharaoh sent for Moses and Aaron and said unto them, I have sinned this time. The Lord is righteous, and I and my people are wicked. So Pharaoh like, all right, okay, look, the Lord is who he said he is. He is who he said he is. And we wicked, we bogus, you right, we're wrong. Entreat the Lord, for it is enough that there is be no more might, thundering in hell, and I will let you go, and ye shall stay no longer. And Moses said unto him, soon as I am gone out of the city, I will spread abroad my hands unto the Lord, and the thunder shall cease. Neither shall there be any more hail, that thou may know that the earth is Yahweh's, right? So Moses like, all right, when I leave up, I'm not gonna do it now, but when I get up out the city, when I'm, back at the crib chilling, all right, I got you. I'll think about it. You know, then but as for thee and my servants, I know that ye will not yet fear Yahweh power, and that the flax and the barley was smitten, for the barley was in the ear, and the flax was bold, but the wheat and the rye were not smitten, for they were not uh, uh, not grew up. And Moses, Moses was like, I know you just jiving, right? I know you just, you know, just saying some stuff, right? Because you don't mean it. You're not going to really let us go. Because the only reason why you're saying that, and you want us, you want, the storm to be lifted is because, you know, like the flat and the barley, okay, that was destroyed. All that was gone. He like, but then it says, but the wheat and the rye, since they haven't, you know, uh, grew yet, um, so you knew that you was still kind of straight on the crop side. So that's what Moses saying. Like, dude, like you're not slick. I know what you're trying to do because I know you still got the rye and and all that stuff. So so but all right, right? Um, where was it? And and Moses went out the city. And Moses went uh, out from the city and spread abroad his hand unto the Lord, and and the thunders and the hail ceased, and the rain was not poured upon the earth. And Moses saw that the rain and the hail and the thunders were ceased, and he sinned yet more and hardened his heart, and he and his servants, and the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, neither would he let the children of Israel go, and the Lord had spoken by Moses. So God told Moses, like, no, he ain't gonna let the people go because the wheat, what was it? It was the rye. What was it? The it was the wheat and the rye, like the wheat and the rye, like they haven't harvest yet, so he's still feeling like, all right, okay, we still got a little hope because we still got some wheat and rye. So he's like, all right, okay, I told you he wasn't gonna let y'all go, but I got something for him, right? Chapter 10. And the Lord said unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the heart of his servants, that I might show these signs before him, and that thou may tell in the ears of thy son and of thy sons and of thy sons' sons what things I have wrought in Egypt, and my signs which I have done among them, that ye may know how that I am Yahweh. So yeah, we talk about these things to this day. So that's why we celebrate Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, remembering how God did these miracles, brought these plagues on Egypt, destroyed our enemies, and took us out of the land of captivity. And he's going to do it again in this great state called the USFA, where he bring the plagues. He already bringing the plagues, right? What you think the C-19 was a few years ago? The wildfires and everything. He's bringing the plagues. The civil unrest that's going on in this country, right? The plagues is coming because America's not going to let us go, like it tells you. And I think in Zephaniah, they that took them captive hold them fast and they don't let them go, right? They're not going to let us go, right? Um, and Moses said, and Moses and Aaron came unto Pharaoh and said unto him, thus said the Lord God of the Hebrews, how long will thou refuse to humble thyself before me? Let my people go, that they may serve me. Else, if thou refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow I will bring the locust into thy coast, and 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 they shall cover the face of the earth, that one cannot be able to see the earth, and they shall eat the residue of which escape, which remain unto you from the hell, and eat every tree which grow out of the field, right? So God is like, all right, cause you remember Pharaoh kind of got a little pompous, cause Pharaoh's like, all right, I'm not gonna let these people go, cause I still got the rye and the wheat to eat, right? But God said, all right, I know you got the rye and the wheat. I'm gonna bring locusts though, and locusts gonna eat all that stuff. Cause you know what locusts like to do. I don't know. It was last summer, not this summer that just passed, but the summer before when we had those all the locust stuff going on, right? They like eating leaves, man. They like eating plants. They would eat that stuff up. They was eating these trees up over here, right? So imagine millions and millions upon millions of locusts, right? There's a um. Remember one time it was something. I think it was a video or either could have been on the news or something. It was tracking like this swarm of locusts, and it was so big they was able to pick it up with the satellites from space. That's how big these locusts was. So, and this is modern day. So we talking about times that by 100, right? So these locusts was coming, right? And so moving on. It says, and they shall fill thy houses and the houses of thy servants and the house of all the Egyptians with uh, neither thy fathers nor thy fathers' fathers have seen since the day that they were upon the earth until this day. And he turned himself and went out from Pharaoh. And Pharaoh's servant said unto him, how long is this man be a snare unto us? Right? So Pharaoh administrators and his wise men, they knew, like, dude, this is not like feasible. Like, they are destroying our country. They are destroying this land. Like, how long are you gonna let these people be a trap for us? Cause that's what the word snare means. Like, how long are you gonna let these people be? These people are longer they stay here, they are becoming a trap for us, right? So how long are we gonna keep going through this? How long are we gonna, you know, because it's gonna, because they see how devastating everything's getting, right? And and they and they feel okay. And the Pharaoh servant said unto him, how long shall this man be a snare unto us? Let the man go, that they may serve the Lord their God. Knowest thou not yet that the Egypt be destroyed? So he like, dude, let these people go, because if you don't, Egypt is going to be destroyed. This is what his advisors is telling him, this people in his cabinet, right? And Moses and Aaron were brought again unto Pharaoh, and he said unto them, go serve the Lord your God, but who are they that go with you? So Pharaoh like, okay, come here. Go serve your God, but like, who we talking about here? Like, who's all going with you, right? Who's going? Who all's going, right? And Moses said, we will go with our young, and we will go with our old. So Moses said, we're going with our children, we're going with our parents and grandparents, with our sons and daughters, with our flocks, and with our herd, will we go? For we must hold a feast unto the Lord. And he said unto them, Let the Lord be with you, as I will let you go, and your little ones look to it, for evil is before you. Not so. Go now, ye that are men, and serve the Lord. So Pharaoh, like, wait, hold on. Okay, I'm cool with you going, take your cattle. That's cool. But you trying to take the children and the women's? No, only the men go serve the Lord, right? Y'all go do that. I'm gonna keep the women and children working. Everything's cool, but you go do that, right? So Pharaoh still wasn't trying to get with the whole program, and that's how you know too. You know the misconception that like uh, following the laws of God and keeping the commandments of God and doing these ordinances of God is is not just for the men to do. It's also for our women and children to do. Right? We all supposed to do this as a community, as a nation, as a people. Right? So although the Lord set a man over the congregation, but as a people, we all supposed to indulge in these laws and these ceremonies, these celebrations, these holidays, all that collectively. But Pharaoh's like, nah, like we're gonna let the men just do it. Like the men do it, just take the men with you, right? That's what Pharaoh was on. And boom, 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 boom. Not so. Go now, ye that are men, and serve the Lord, for that ye did desire, right? That's what you want. Like, go and serve the Lord. That's what you want, right? That's what he's saying. But you can't take the women and the kids with you, though. It's like, so that's what you want. You want to go serve the Lord, go ahead, right? He says, for that's what ye did desire, and ye were driven out from Pharaoh's, and they were driven out from Pharaoh's presence. So Pharaoh, like, get up out of here, right? Go on, get up out of here then. Because, Moses wasn't going. Like, no, we need everybody, right? It's not just for the men, it's for the whole nation to serve the Lord. The whole nation is supposed to serve Yahweh, right? So that's why it's important to teach this stuff to your kids, right? To this is a generational thing. This is not just all right, I'm doing my thing, and hopefully they'll figure something out. No, we are required to teach this to our families and pass it on down, right? Um, all right. And Moses said unto, and the Lord said unto Moses, Stretch out thy hand over the land of Egypt, for the locusts, that they may come upon the land of Egypt and eat every herb of the land, and even all the hail that's even that the hail has left. And Moses stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt, and the Lord brought a east wind upon the land, and all that day, and all that day, all that night, and when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts. So it was a strong wind that was, pushing these locusts towards the land of Egypt. It was the east wind, right? Meaning it was a wind blowing from the east that was pushing the locusts west towards Egypt, right? And when the locusts went over the land of Egypt and rest in all the coast of Egypt, very grievous were they. Before them, they were no such locusts as they were, neither after them uh, shall be such, right? So let's talk about those locusts everywhere. And I'm pretty sure we all got a glimpse of that, Like I remember it been years where like locusts just be all over. Like the year before last year I was talking about. Like locusts everywhere, just all over the ground. You can't walk nowhere. They just falling out the trees on you. They everywhere, right? That's annoying, right? Then they make noises all day long. That little clicking sound or whatever sound you want to call it. It's annoying. Then not only is it annoying, it's millions and millions of them everywhere, right? It's not just a few. They're everywhere. They're in your house. They're everywhere. They're in your clothes. They're in your hair. They're everywhere, right? So it's rough. Um, I had a friend that had like a little locust or a little grasshopper cricket thing that was camped out by their window for about a week or so, making noise, and it was driving them crazy. And they was telling me about it. So, and that was just one. So imagine like millions and millions of these things, right? So it's not cool. It's annoying. And the locusts went over all the land of Egypt and rested in the coast of Egypt. Very grievous were they. Before them, there were no such locusts as they were, as locusts as they. Neither after them shall shall be such. For they covered the face of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened, and they did eat every herb of the land and all the fruit of the trees which the hell had left. And there remained not any green thing in the trees or in the herbs of the field through all the land of Egypt. So remember, because the last plague after the hail, the wheat and the rye was still kind of left over. So God was like, all right, I'll fix that. I got some locusts to eat up anything that's green that's left in the field. Anything that's green, I got locusts to eat it all up, right? So it's jacking them all up, right? Um, and, and Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron in a haste, and he said, I have sinned against the Lord your God and against you. Now therefore forgive, I pray thee, my sin only this once, and entreat the Lord your God that he may take away from me this death only. And he went out from Pharaoh and entreated the Lord, and the Lord turned a mighty strong west wind, which took away the locusts and cast them into the Red Sea. There remained not one locust in the coast of Egypt, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart so that he would not let the children go. So Pharaoh still, after the locusts left, Pharaoh got back on his tough stuff. It was like, I ain't letting the people go. We got rid of that. That was just some stuff. The locusts came and went, right? Stuff happens. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thy hand towards heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which be felt. And Moses stretched forth his hand towards heaven, and there were a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. There they saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days, but the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. So God calls it to be basically like for lack of better terms, a solar eclipse over the Egyptians to make a complete darkness over them for 3 days, while the Israelites had light. And we were talking about this the other day, too, like far as like how you can see a thunderstorm from a distance, and you could be like in a clear, dry area, but everything over there is like just getting, just drenched, right? And like another occasion, I was with my nephew. We by the high school I went to, and we're walking up the street. So off to the side, we see like um, the tennis courts and stuff that they had over there. So, and it's like super gray. The sky is super gray all the way over there. So now we like maybe the distance between maybe about a block away from where the tennis courts is, but we can see it. It's a nice clear path. So it's raining like hellacious thunderstorm on that side. And me and my nephew was tripping because he never seen it before. Because he was young. Like he never seen like how where we had is super dry, and we can look in the distance, like basically about a block away, and just see like the storm of the century going on. So he thought it was cool, and I was telling him the story how when I was in Mississippi how I seen something like that too. So this is what we're seeing here. We're seeing that it's darkness in Egypt, but where the Israelites reside at in Goshen, they still have light for 3 days, right? And oh yeah, that's what's going on. What was it? Boom. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thy hand towards heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. And Moses stretched out his hand towards the heaven, and there were thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. Right? And think about this. I don't know if any of us ever been in the woods or somewhere where there's no natural like no natural light or no electricity, right? It's just pitch black, right? You be out in the country somewhere, it's just straight darkness, right? You be driving on a road, if you ain't got your brights on, if you're not familiar in that area, it's just straight darkness. I was in Atlanta last year, riding with a friend, and straight darkness. And I was amazed how they was able to see everything. They've been down there for a while, so and they just whipping and turning, and I'm like, I can't see nothing. Everything is black, right? So the straight darkness, right? That's what they're saying. Darkness that you can feel, meaning you can't even, see your hand in front of your face, right? It's that darkness. So you gotta understand, back then it wasn't like street lights and electricity and all that stuff. So you had light. So when it was dark, it was dark, right? So let me see where it was. Boom. And they saw not one another, neither rose from their place for 3 days, but the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh called unto Moses and said, go ye serve Yahweh only, let your flocks and your herd uh, be stayed, let your little ones also go with you. So Pharaoh like, okay, look, take the little ones with you, take the women and the kids with you, but leave the flock, right? Leave your cattle, right? And Moses said, thou must give us also sacrifices and burnt offerings that we may sacrifice unto Yahweh our God. Our cattle also shall go with us. There shall not a hoof be left behind, for thereof must be take to serve the Lord our God. And we know not with what we must serve the Lord until we come hither. So he was like, look, we got to bring all our cattle with us because we don't know which cattle we need to sacrifice to Yahweh because he haven't told us. But, so we need to make sure we're ready. So we got everything we need. So we got to take everything with us, right? But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let them go. And Pharaoh said unto him, get ye from me, take heed to thyself, and see my face no more. For in that day thou may see my face, thou shalt die. So Pharaoh was for I want to cuss, but Pharaoh was being difficult, right? So we like, no, we got to bring everything with us, right? We can't just leave, because we got to sacrifice. So Pharaoh's like, you know what, get out of my face. You know what, and if I see you again, it's on sight. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to kill you. I'm going to have you executed, right? So, we're going to end it right there, right? And, so yeah, so we see that these people was, like I said, all this stuff going on. Egypt is being destroyed. Even his advisors is telling them, hey, maybe we should let these people go. Because after a while, it's not becoming worth having these people here because everything that's taking place, right? So, we're gonna, continue. We're gonna leave it here. We're gonna pick up, 11 and 12 next time. So yeah, we see, we are getting ready to make our way up out of there, right? The great exodus, right? And again, so as this going on, you know, uh, keep in mind our people, were uh, revolting, were having little mini protesters, if you want to call it, rioting, looting, the civil unrest in the backdrop of why these things are going on. You know, as far as like if you when you take into the Egyptian account of the Exodus and what happened, right? So, so yeah, all this stuff is taking place. Um, so yeah, we're on our way out. Um, so yeah, we're gonna pick it up again. Hopefully that was edifying. And so I'm gonna say shalom. We're gonna keep this feast of unleavened bread going. So shalom, peace. I'm out.